Good day, people. I'm back. Should have got some really nice spring weather here today. Went to the gym this morning, walked in, it was cold. Come out, it was like walking into a desert in an hour and a half. Wow. Anyhow, beautiful day, beautiful morning. This video here is going to be a takeoff. We're picking up on where the previous video left off. Blocked from owning property and compelled to take an interest in property. We're going to try to keep this as short as possible. And we're going to start a new series of Zoom meetings within our Reclaim Your Securities starting about the end of this month, April 2023, and expanding on this stuff we're talking about here. I'm going to give you some more details for understanding today on with respect to that previous video I just mentioned. It's probably going to be screen share, and there'll be some verbiage about render unto Caesar at the end of this, so people get a better grip on what's going on there and with the taxing thing. And anyhow, just let me get the screen share going here. There we go. Hope you guys can see that. Little thing in my face there. Get out of my way. Okay, cool. All right, so this I'm going to show you. I got two columns here. How they passed off duties of citizenship / debtor / trustee from them to us. Okay. On the left here, we've got the private, we got the life estate, and we got the real owner. It says owner, but that's the real owner. On this side, we've got public, we got the fiction estate, we've got the owner. It all ties in with two beings, same name. This being here, this is a real being. This son exists. Testimony of the Deputy Registrar General. It's from a court case we have. The government, and it's in several communications, quite frankly, from the Office of the Registrar General, the government does not register people. The statement of birth, this is the document the mother and the father fill out to register, to certify the birth, which blah, blah, leads to the registration of the birth, so the government can issue a birth certificate. Remember, the information on the birth certificate comes from this document here. So this statement of birth proves the issue date of son of man, as well as man's lawful name. Example, John Smith. Information on this form is of the mother and the father, man and woman. The identity, this being, this son / man, is of and belongs to the mother and the father, the maker, made in the image and likeness of man and woman. You all look in the mirror and people say you look like your mom, you look like your dad, right? So everything, like we've talked in previous videos, everything is of something else. Can't be any other way. Cats are of cats, dogs are of dogs, people are people, so on and so forth. Apples are of apple trees. Anyhow, so on this side, I'm just going to stay level here. We have a fictional being, a fictional son, an imaginary. It's an imagination. It's just an image. Testimony of the Deputy Registrar General, same case as this one. Birth certificate is a token. And as I said in previous videos, so is a driver's license, passport, identity cards, photo identity cards. Anything that's got a biometric marker other than the birth certificate, which doesn't have your biometric marker, but yet it's still a token. It's basically the foundational identity token once you go to in the public land there. So anyhow, a birth certificate is a token, which means nominal, discussed in previous videos, equals this John Smith exists in name only. This one's real, this one's fictional, imaginary, exists in name only. Birth certificate is property belonging to Ontario, Canada, Her Majesty the Queen. Proves issue date of a son of Ontario, Canada, Her Majesty the Queen. Legal name, John Smith. Remember, over here we got a lawful name, over here we've got a legal name. Same name. I don't care if it's all caps or upper lowercase in both cases, makes no difference. It's what it's of. That's what matters. Information on this form is of Ontario, Canada. Okay, because your application was made, so now you applied to that other God. To start over here with God made man, but over here, by making the application, when basically we're saying that this over here, Canada, Ontario, Her Majesty is our God, essentially. Identity. This being, this son is of and belongs to Ontario, Canada, Her Majesty the Queen, Her Majesty, His Majesty the King, whatever, the maker, made in the image and likeness of fictional beings. Remember, there is no Canada. You can't talk to Canada. You can't talk to Ontario. You can't talk to these things. They don't actually exist. They have people that represent these things, but you can never talk to these things. They're all fictional beings. at the end of this video, I'm going to just have a Word document up there, a little blurb on render under Caesar, as I mentioned, and maybe I'll clarify a little bit of that. Another letter from the office of the Registrar General. Several of us have got the same thing. A name is not property. Can't be owned, transferred, assigned, or held in trust. So therefore, the name on the birth certificate is not being given to you. It belongs to the province, belongs to the country. There's no transfer here. So it tells you right there. So, yes, we're going to expand on this in Zoom meetings. We're going to get into nitty gritty what people can do with this information. There's going to be see some red here. I blocked out certain stuff that's not for public consumption. Again, on this side where the real being is, we got of God, life genuine. Over here where the fictional being is, we've got construction of law discussed in previous videos. It's a counterfeit of, a clone of the real. But it constitutes a graven identity. We were never supposed to do these things, but we all did. Here again on this side, no man / no substance in the legal system. Remember, there's no substance in the legal system. The men don't exist in there. However, on the other side of the equation, this is where the fictional beings are out in that system, right? So you have inform, imagination, mask, person, characters. Again, over here, man owns the property. Man owns his property. Of course, man belongs to God, so it all belongs to God at the end of the day. We all get that here. But down here on this planet, if you don't own the property, then someone will just take it from you. So on this side, man owns the property in his lawful name, if he could do business in his lawful name. On this side, again, you're using the birth certificate name known on driver's license, blah, blah. So Ontario, Canada, His Majesty, the King owns the property because of the transference that's taken place. Remember, in the previous video, we are compelled. Well, I'm going to get to that. Shut up, Adam. So on this side, again, we got man, we got lawful name, sequestered, sequestration. These are words you should look up the meaning of these things. Essentially, the statement of birth in the custody of the Office of the Registrar General. Okay, this is what we're talking about here. This document, your certificate, your registration of live birth document we're talking about here. Go back to our very first video, introduction to trusts, estates, and securities. I showed the foundation security, right? That registration of birth document. Best we ever get is a certified copy of that. You're never going to get the original. It's okay, you don't want the original. So because the ORG, the Office of the Registrar General, holds this document, it's blocking man from direct participation, from doing business in his lawful name, from owning property in his name of his mom and his dad. Now, this is very important, this part in yellow here. This is key. This is why this is actually the basis of reclaiming your securities while we do what we do here. Sorry. The holder of the statement of live birth, the registration of live birth document, whatever it's called, where the birth took place, holds my ownership of property, being my security. Remember, foundational security? That document represents my ownership of property. They have it. Think about that. Very significant. But that's exactly why in the Reclaim Your Securities, this is the foundational security that we list as collateral in the security agreement. And again, the security agreement is the lien, not the filing, not the UCC, not the PPSR, not the Property Securities Registration. No. That is not the lien. The security agreement is the lien. Okay, so, and then we got a disclaimer here. So it's again red stuff, so I'm not going to talk about that here. This will be expanded upon in our Zoom meetings that I'm going to talk about, like I say, starting the end of this month, as well as some verbiage people can, is basically is a guide that people can use to conclude the matter. When I say conclude the matter, I mean get the proper trustee now, get the trusteeship, the debtorship, the citizenship off our backs, and backward should be or was in the beginning before all this shenanigans took place, where we were compelled to apply for birth certificate, as discussed in the previous video. So here we got trick, no informed consent. It's not voluntary. Remember, they sequestered us. They're basically blocking man, women to do business out there in the public in their lawful names. Okay, so now we're compelled to apply for birth certificate. To to use the certificate and the legal name John Smith. We're compelled now to do business in this name, you see, so this is what's taking place here. Couple that with force to take an interest in property. That's huge. There's a little bit right here, an understanding of these two things right here, which we'll definitely expand upon for people. So they have the foundation, through these Zoom meetings we're going to have, and so you know how to handle things. We're compelled to think for, speak for, act for, appear for, and do the work in the legal name, John Smith, causing man to pretend or appear to be the son of Canada, a fictional being, legal name, John Smith, lawful name, legal name. Brought about change of identity and the transfer of duties of trustee, because now we're using their property, we're using their name, right? Remember that information on the birth certificate that goes out onto driver's license, so on and so forth, all these other accounts, all that's out there in the public, basically, and all the information systems. Not your lawful name out there, it's the legal name, John Smith, that's on out there and recognized in law in the public. Business done in the legal name John Smith is done in the name of and for Ontario, Canada, Her Majesty, His Majesty the King, the owner, proprietor, / trustee. No, they're not trustee at the moment because we got to do something here to fix all this up, but that's, oops, what did I do there? Oh, okay. Point being is over here, you'd own your property, and you're doing it, you're not doing it for yourself because you'd actually be doing it in your lawful name, which is of God, and you belong to God. The name belongs to God, so it's your property, but it all belongs to God because I belong to God. Simple. Over here, it's the exact opposite. It all belongs to the King, Ontario, Canada, His Majesty the King, because we're using their certificate now. We're using their John Smith, their fictional being, and we're appearing as it or as if it. Over here, we got this is getting a little bit in a little more detail, but after certain events have occurred, we are the grantor, benefactor, true owner. Over here, the government is the actual true debtor / trustee. Okay, so that's not how it is now, but that's how it should be. This is what we're going to strive to get back to, right? That's the whole point of it. Over here, I've got beneficiary. I got question mark here because whenever there's a trust, there must be an identifiable beneficiary. And so there has to be an identifiable beneficiary. And this is where it gets really interesting, very interesting. This understanding, again, the key thing right here is the holder of the registration of live birth, of the original statement of live birth document, or whatever the document's called, the mom and dad fill out to certify the birth so the government can register the event, not you, the event. Whoever holds that holds your ownership of property. Huge. Because of the events that have occurred, we are now the attorney, as discussed in previous videos, / attorney of record for the fictional being, this John Smith over here, this legal name John Smith. Their law, however, is it is a criminal offense to pretend to be the person. Remember, I said up here, causing man to pretend or appear to be. You decide these things, it doesn't matter what they're thinking. You remember, we're working with deceptions and stuff here as well. My sons are my property. My children are my property. I made them. And trustee pays the bills, pays the debts, etc. So this is why at the end of the day, I don't care what things cost. I don't care how much inflation goes up. I don't care. The government wants to charge extra for this, extra for that, extra for this, that, the other thing. I don't care. Once the stuff is put back in its proper place, trustee pays the debts, the bills. Right now, that's you because of this. Like it says in our very first video, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So that's it for this chart thing here. This is kind of thing I do when I want to put things in front of my face for my purposes. I throw blurbage in here and these things, and I go through it afterwards. And I've been going through this for a while, and mainly for you guys to make sure it's as accurate as possible. And you get the message. So I'll just stop the screen share. I believe that's it. Actually, let me just pause this here for a moment. I'll just stop the screen share. You've seen that. Cool. I'm just going to pause this for a moment. Take a break. Think about what else I got to say, if anything. Thanks. So this information is all fine and dandy, but the question is, what do you do with it? And that's what we're going to talk about in the Zoom meetings that I say is going to start in the Reclaim Your Securities around the end of April 2023. I haven't picked a firm date yet, but I shall. I'm just going to give people time to get in to get our package and want to join in, excuse me, to get these, join these Zoom recordings and meetings, pardon me. And they'll be recorded as well for future education. So it's important though that people have the foundation of the understanding of what we're talking about here and so you understand what you can do with it and you can handle things. Now what I'm sharing here is exceedingly simple. Exceedingly simple. You just need to have an understanding of 2-3 key aspects here. Again, the important one being whoever holds that registration of live birth holds your ownership of property. However, the interest, and they've compelled us to take an interest in that property, and that's what caused the shift from them being the trustee to us being the trustee. And so we have to do something with that. And again, so that's going to be all covered in our Zoom recordings. It should be that many Zoom recordings, to be honest, because it is really short and sweet and simple. Just want to go through some of the basics here and for the understanding for people of the principles and the concepts, and then they can go forth on that easily, without security agreements. Just once you have the knowledge, and the other aspect of all of this is you need to know the truth. It's the truth that sets you free. When you know the truth of things, and that's what we're going to put out there. You may not see it as the truth yet. That's up to you to decide, but it's the truth that sets you free, and we can put the truth on the table. The truth is they are holding our ownership of property, but there's a couple other things that have to be dealt with at the same time, the same conversation, if I put it that way, to put that burden, that duty of trusteeship back on them. And like I say, part of that is just knowing the truth, and regardless of what people say, it doesn't matter what people say, the paperwork basically speaks. But you need to have, like I say, the foundation of the basic understanding here. Well, a decent understanding, some simple principles and concepts. And it's really quite simple, really. Like I say, 2-3 key aspects, and one or two of them have already been covered here. And then it's just putting that together. What do I do with it? That's what people want to know. What do I do with it? So I can get these financial monkey mumbo jumbo off my back. Remember, you don't own anything as it sits right now. You do, but you don't, because they're holding your ownership of property, so you don't. But you're paying the bills. You're bearing the burden. You got enough yet? So, that's it for this video. And not sure if I'm going to leave the comments on here or not. I appreciate most of the comments. Other ones, it's just taking up some of our time here if we have to look at them and reply to them. So I may not have the comments on. And it'll be a little blurbage here after this little video from me here, dealing with the render under Caesar thing. Ties right into what we're talking about here. So, God bless, love you. Ciao. I'm going to stop the recording right now. Remember, light of God never fails. It is not possible. You have the light of God in you. It's in everyone, or you wouldn't be walking and leaving. Your body wouldn't be breathing. Heart wouldn't be ticking. It's when the light leaves, it's taken from the body, that the body, basically what people call dead. But nevertheless, we all have that light within us. Let that shine. Let that shine. Let that light shine. Be the light. You are the light. You are the light. I keep telling my grandsons from the time they were born, you're a child of the light. It's funny when they're sitting in front of the appliances with the lights going off. They always love to sit in their lights. So I sit them on my knee and we look at the lights, and I tell them in their ear that you're a child of the light. You're all children of the light. Where there's light, there's no dark. God bless, love you. Ciao for now. Light of God never fails. Be good-ish.